back, guys, to another one of my vlog videos. If you guys have seen my other vlog video, the first one I did was about camera and video camera selection for our hobby in particular. Today we're going to be talking about 3 key factors that are going to increase your chances, based on my opinion, of finding the deepest copper and silver finds in the field, and also retaining the sensitivity, very high sensitivity, to the very small silver and copper finds as well. So the very first thing we're going to be talking about today is the kilohertz, or the operating frequency of your detector. In order for you to be able to detect the deepest, smallest copper and silver coins out in the field, you need to be operating at a frequency that is the lowest to 0. The higher you go from 0, it's going to decrease your depth on copper and silver finds, which for coin hunters, you want to be able to maximize your depth out in the field of those particular things. You need to get a detector that's going to operate at the lowest frequency possible to 0. I've been detecting for about 37 years. I started in England when I was about 5 years old, and I've gone through quite a lot of detectors. The lowest frequency gets me the maximum depth possible for copper and silver. The higher you go, the threshold to me is around that 7 kilohertz. So anything from a 7 kilohertz higher, you're decreasing your depth on those targets. The closer you get to 0, you're increasing your chances. So that brings me to the second key factor that's going to increase your chances, is search coil configuration. As you can see on this table, every search coil on this table is a double D coil. The double D coil in particularly ends up seeing less ground mineralization. A detector coil that sees less ground mineralization will allow the user to maximize the sensitivity setting in your detector. They work together. So you need to choose a double D coil for your unit. It allows you to see less ground mineralization, as I've said, but in turn that allows you to maximize your depth potential because it affects the sensitivity setting on your unit. As you can see on the table here, they're all double D coils. So what I have in front of me here, they're all double D coils. These black coils here that you can see are all for my E-Track. That is my go-to unit right now. That operates from a 1.5 kilohertz right up to a 100 kilohertz. It retains the sensitivity to lower conductive targets like small gold. But the lower kilohertz also allows the unit to penetrate at depth, allows me to really retain the sensitivity to those very small silver coins and the copper coins. The E-Track is what I use. That's my opinion. After 37 years, you guys take it as ever you wish to use it. Hopefully you guys take something away from this information, but I'm just pointing out a couple of things that I've noticed over my years of detecting. So anyway, these double D coils here, they're all double D coils, except there is a difference in the build of these. As you can see, this one here, if you guys have watched some of my other videos, this is the Sunray X12. This one is a 12.5-inch double D coil. All of these see less ground mineralization, but this one allows me to find targets at this end and this end. I can find stuff at depth on the tips. 12.5 by 12.5. I get a good 12.5 coverage. This coil replaced this coil. This is the Minelab 11-inch coil. This one is on the Safari, the E-Track, and the CTX. This is marketed as an 11-inch search coil. That's 11 inches. Your detection field is 9 inches. That's 9 inches. This is 12.5 inches. That's the main reason I chose an aftermarket coil for the E-Track. It's bigger, I get better coverage, and better depth. So, as you can see, the coil windings overlap earlier on in the coil. This one they come right up to the tip and then they cross. Up to the tip and cross. That's why I can get stuff right on the edges. This one I cannot. That one's similar as the Minelab one. As you can see, that's marketed as a 6x8 coil. It's actually got a 6-inch detection field right down the middle. So it's actually a 6x6. And that is a 6-inch digger coil. That operates at a 3 kilohertz, a very, very low frequency. That is for my Minelab Xterra 705. So, search coil configuration. You have to be able to maximize your search coil. Not all double Ds are the same. Nell has 2 coils. I've never bought a Nell coil, but there is 2 coils that seem to maximize their windings, and that is the Nell Thunder. If you look at the coil, the windings go straight to the very top of the coil, and then they overlap. And there's another one by Nell. It's either a 13-inch or a 15-inch coil, I believe. It's not the one that has that divvy out like that. It's the one, it has a blunt end, so it's straight at the top. That one also maximizes the coil windings. So if I was to buy a Nell, those would probably be the ones that I go with because I want to maximize my coverage. So, search coil configuration. That's the number 2 factor in what to consider when purchasing a unit. The first one was low kilohertz, closest to 0, is going to be more sensitive to the deep, deep copper and silver. And also, the double D configuration allows your unit to see less ground mineralization. Okay guys, we've come to the very last key point, and that is your sensitivity setting on your unit. The sensitivity setting on your unit is mostly affected by how much ground mineralization your unit sees under the search coil. Being a double D coil, it sees less ground mineralization, which in turn will allow you to maximize your setting of the sensitivity in your unit. As most of you know, the higher sensitivity you can program into your unit, the deeper the unit is going to detect targets. So, as you can see now, if we do a recap of all 3 components, the lower the frequency, the deeper you're going to detect the copper and silver coins. The double D configuration of the coil is going to see less ground mineralization. And in turn, that affects your sensitivity setting of your unit because it allows you to maximize your depth potential with your unit through setting your sensitivity as high as you can without falsing. So those are the 3 components, guys. This video is based on my opinion only after my years of experience. This Xterra 705 you can see right here on the right is my go-to unit for depth. It will kill everything in the field. It cleans up after my E-track because its primarily focus is that low kilohertz, and I can operate this large coil at maximum sensitivity with no chatter. I get stuff at super depths with this. Coin size targets I can hit at 18 inches, no problem with this. I've pulled silver quarters out. I've pulled a 2 real out from 18 inches. It gets awesome depth, and the reaction response at that 3 kilohertz on those types of targets, the copper and silver, come in super sharp. So anyway guys, thank you for joining me on this video. I really hope you guys got something from this, some information you guys might already know about. Please like and subscribe to my videos and to my channel. I always appreciate that. And thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next time out.